provisioning of wireless in this particular area, and that's when they were looking. Now, I want to say this also, whether we put it on the, have decided to do this on the school property or not, it was coming. It was coming.
Well, I know
Matter of fact, you got another one. You got another one looking also for a second cell tower in this area, because the fact that the demands of wireless, I keep saying this, is high. When we first moved in this district, and I was first PTA president here, or the president-elect here at MLK, there was no need. Everybody has phones. Everybody had phones at home. But technology have changed the last 10 years, and you're gonna see cell towers go up, and you're gonna see wireless gonna continue to increase. And these big companies, they have the right, and the zone is here to come in here and look at putting cell towers up. So whether it was on school property or not, it was gonna happen.
Now, as far as the zoning, I have researched the municipal code for DeKalb County, and they don't allow cell towers in residential neighborhoods unless it's the last resort, and that means the cellular company has to look and see if there are other towers in the area that they can co-locate on. And there are other towers, like I said, there are 40 towers here. So how do y'all know that T-Mobile did not exhaust?
I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm abreast on the ins and outs of T-Mobile as far as research is concerned. That's what the staff does for the school system.
That's what I was wondering.
They go
Did
back
they do
and
that?
they go back and do all that, and they bring it to the board.
Did they do
And
that?
they did go back and did the search.
Okay.
They want to, what they do is T-Mobile contact the school system, and let me just back up. All of this started, we had one school that was actually looking at, right now you dial 911 on the cell phone, you can't reach 911, and that's Lakeside High School. That's how it first started out. Lakeside was the initial school that was being looked at as far as cell towers are concerned. So as a board, we sit there and ask, well, where else are y'all looking at putting towers at? And the other places they were putting towers were the 12 sites, and that's how the 12 sites came. And they was already in the process of putting these sites, or a process of doing it anyway.
When you say doing it, what?
Putting these 12 towers up, or 12 new cell towers, T-Mobile was.
Not at the schools, though.
Not at the school,
Right.
not in the beginning, not at the school.
Because I know they approached a church in the neighborhood, and that church community decided not to have a cell tower built.
Okay. What I'd like to do, can I talk?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to get back and forth
answer the
with
question,
you.
and
Okay.
we'll take the floor one at a time.
Okay.
What we did was ask where else cell towers going up there after that, because where are your dead zones, what else was going on? And they came back with the schools that you saw that was proposed for cell towers. What I mean when I say they were getting ready to put them up anyway, meaning they have already looked at different areas around here to put the cell towers up. As a board, we sat there and said, well, if you're putting it, if you're putting it this close near the schools, or you're putting it in this area here, when you're gonna do it, do we have enough land there, some schools to turn around and do it from there? And we looked at it from that proposal, because they were gonna do it anyway. I'm not knocking anyone here, but at the same time period, they was right now you got Verizon advertising while we sleep, as we speak, on TV, about 20-some cell towers they get ready to put up.
I haven't seen
That
it.
we don't know nothing about.
I haven't seen it.
What? Well, you haven't seen it, but I'm telling you what they're doing. There's ways of advertising that they're using where we don't know anything about. How you think the 40 got here? Did any of y'all see here know all these, the 40 was here until the night? until you did your research?
We didn't know. They,
But what I'm
they
saying, I'm
weren't-
just making a comment from that standpoint. So towers are gonna be something that's gonna happen in the community. Far as cell phones are concerned, and the more demand that we use cell phones and we use wireless, the more you're gonna see towers up. At the end, when these towers go up, the other companies can come in and buy in on them particular towers, like you were saying, like you were saying from there. That's true. What we did as a board, we turned around and sent out. We contacted the PTAs, the Champion newspaper. We sent out bulletins, and we had meetings scheduled. The last meeting that was scheduled here was in May the 3rd of this year. We had here at Martin Luther King High School. We had 3 people show up.
Now, how was that notification done?
That
Because
was done through the Champion newspaper.
I didn't see anything in the chat.
It was done through the Champion newspaper, and then so that everyone knows, there's 3 papers on the South DeKalb area. There's Crossroads, and there's Common Ground, and there's Champion. Champion is our legal ordinance, meaning that anything legal that goes on in DeKalb County, we have to put in Champion. We need to start reading Champion.
Well, how many of us knew
where
that
is
even to
Champion?
begin with?
But I'm just saying.
I understand what you're
And I
just
can-
saying, but you know what I'm saying is that the majority of us didn't even know that this Champion paper would even have that kind of information in it, or else we would be reading
But
it.
let
We're
me
not gonna
just,
stand by and just
Okay.
let this.
but Jay,
I understand what you're saying, sir, but at the same time period, that's what the school system is required to do,
But-
or any of the government entities. We have to put everything in the Champion. Now,
But
should
they
it be,
wasn't
and I ain't
done.
gonna sit here and say, should it be something to say everybody that moves over here, to educate people that the Champion is our legal ordinance? Probably so. I can't argue with that. But at the end of the day, that is the legal ordinance for DeKalb County. And all the information is in the Champion. Then we have Crossroads, then we have on Common Ground.
Is that listed on the DeKalb County website?
Far as the towers and things.
Or not just the towers, but.
The legal paper.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say I know it's not on the school site. I know it's not on there saying that it's the legal ordinance from there. No, I haven't seen that at all. No.
but
It's not.
along with that, Jay, and I'm gonna get you, your own, y'all had an internal consent agenda where you approved this,
Mhm.
and your staff wrote this up, right,
Mhm.
Mr. Donahue?
Mhm.
He didn't say y'all advertised in the Champion. He said y'all advertised in the Metro News section of the AJC,
Okay.
and that y'all advertised on the school marquees. You
Mhm.
sent flyers with the students, and we don't know if that was done.
Okay.
We don't know if that was done, because Mr. Patrick told me he had nothing to do with notification to the community.
Okay.
That's what he told me. He told me 2 people were here, and he was one of them.
Okay.
But he said, but according to your staff's write-up, it was in the Metro Atlanta news section, and I printed a copy of that, and that was only in there one time,
Okay.
on one day.
Okay.
Usually with the Champion, they will advertise something, they're required to advertise something like this for 30 days straight.
Mhm.
It was not done in the Champion,
Okay.
like I said. So, that's not correct. Also, he said it was announced on WSB TV and radio. Again, how would we know, and how would we get information on that? Our, concern is that we live right across the street over here. So if anything, just as any kind of zoning or anything that's gonna affect the community, and the community needs to know about it, and a hearing's gonna be held, signs could have been put up around that wooded area where the tower is gonna go up. Because even if you put something on the marquee, we don't go that way. That's going, south on 155.
Mhm.
To work, we're going this way, down Snapfinger, Western Chapel, or we going down Dogwood Farms the other way. So we don't think that was appropriate
But Sheree, there
notification.
was nothing put up on the market.
See, I don't know. That's what he's
There was
saying here.
nothing.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know,
I
because
go
I
there
don't go
every
there.
day. It was nothing put up.
And we don't know if any flyers were sent home with the children either, because like I said, Mr. Patrick said, and some of the parents didn't even know, because some of the parents that have contacted me said they didn't even know, and some of them were sitting right out here before we came in, said they didn't even know.
Some of the employees, you don't know.
Mr. Cunningham, I mean, you said earlier that cell towers were gonna go up no matter what. Of course, many of us who have lived in this community for a while, and in other places, we know that cell towers have been requested in other districts, school districts such as Fulton County and North
Right.
Fulton.
Right.
When T-Mobile tried to go up there,
Right.
those parents got together, those homeowners got together, and those cell towers were never placed on school property. So when you say, it's almost like it's a mandate or it's going to happen no matter what.
No,
we say.
what I'm trying to say is the cell towers were coming. I'm not saying that the school property was a decision we made as a board, the school property part, but they were gonna put them in the neighborhoods anyway, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Did anybody do any environmental, what the environmental impact is? Because it said that, cell towers emit certain kinds of radiation,
Yes, sir.
possibly, that can affect, all of us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there was work done as far as cell towers were concerned. It was presented to the board, and, we we heard what was being said, but this is what we voted on.
Okay. So you're saying the towers are gonna go right up on this property?
Right now,
no matter
the towers,
what?
the way it's set up now, the towers gonna go up in the front part of in the woods, in the front part of the school. The way it's set up right
When
now.
is this going to happen?
They've already applied for the necessary paperwork to get, T-Mobile has to do it. So, it's in the process of happening now.
And the school system is getting a kickback as a result?
No, what is happening is the MLK is getting 60% of that 30-year money. And getting, the school PTA is getting $25,000 to start it off with. And that's for each one of the schools that's getting the cell tower.
Now, what I read, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but let me just say
Let
this.
her go ahead.
Back on what he was saying about back in the day when they had the big, electric wires, the high efficiency on the school premises,
Yeah.
then they saw that the kids in that school started getting a lot of cancer in the brain.
Yeah.
So then they took them off of the campus and they were no longer allowed to be on the campus. So with the research that he was asking about, are we gonna wait till the kids start getting cancer and then take it off? Or has adequate research been done to make sure that something like that won't, because you can get cancer now, they've just admitted that you could get cancer for having your cell phone up to your ear.
Amen.
So if my cell phone is doing it, then this high
You
powered
get
thing
more
is
cancer
here.
from this than you would from the cell tower.
What she's asking is,
What I'm asking is, have
The-
the proper research
The
been done?
research has been done, it was submitted to the board, and this is how the board, how
What did the
I
research
went
say?
along with it, and this is how we
What
voted.
did the research say about it?
I read that T-Mobile did their own research.
They did.
Okay, and we did one also.
What did the
Yeah,
research
there
show?
were other independent agencies, they did research. Now, there's a lot of
They
controversy
did.
regarding these radio frequency and the long-term effects on people.
And
Some
at
of
the
them
end
are
of
negative,
the
some of them
day,
are
we
positive.
got 40 in this community.
But none
according
of
to
we don't need
research
any
over.
more.
That
Well,
means
well,
we don't need to
well,
but that's 42 many.
Yes, sir.
But what did the research show?
There was research that showed there was a pro and there was a con. There was no research that showed that definitely this is gonna have some harm to our kids once what was brought to us.
But see, what I can't understand, there's no definite proof, but there's the possibility. There's a possibility that there could be some long-term effects of these radio frequency waves.
Okay,
And so I
so
don't see how you guys could
I'm-
decide that, knowing that there's
at the
a
end of
chance that it
the,
would injure our children.
at the end of the day,
That's why they should.
at the end of the day, we voted back in July. We had the meetings back in May. We did everything as a school system as far as what we're supposed to do to as far as notification of these meetings is concerned. You got what is what they have written here on what was sent out, the flyers, the AJC, et cetera, for that champion. And based on them meetings and what we got, we've already voted. So what I wanted to hear your concerns, but at the same time period, it's after the fact.
Well, Jay, you can't reverse that decision because.
There's not enough board vote
If
to
you
go
make a
back
motion.
to go back and
There were
and
two
change
board
that.
members who voted against it. Y'all took 3 schools off the list.
We
Because
took
they
3.
had the same concerns that we have out here. There's
But we're
no
back.
difference in their concerns and our concerns.
It-
And they
it-
said the same thing. They said, if you don't approve for these 3 schools, you shouldn't approve for any schools. That should have been it.
that
You don't
is
have to
true.
hear from us. We got the same
That-
concerns.
Okay.
I'd say, and
No,
then,
but-
and then if she's showing that there was not.
There was not
there-
proper
I mean, if there was
notification.
not proper
That was
notification,
not proper.
then you, and you're going forward under the premise that, well, you guys were notified, there not only wasn't there proper notification, but then you don't even advertise where you guys are supposed to legally advertise.
Which is in the
You know, I
county.
mean,
Well,
so pretty
I
much,
made-
so
I
pretty
made
much
note
you
that
guys
there-
could have put a sticky note up on the,
I made
up
note
on
to here to
Stone
go
Mountain
back
Road.
and
Him out,
check
sir,
on.
please.
I mean, pretty
Well,
much.
everybody, I'm talking the same way everyone else is
Yeah,
talking.
No, but you
You
are
know,
elected
for that,
official. You need to
You know,
listen to the
so
public.
I'm listening to what he's saying, but I made note to here. I'm hearing what you're saying. I made note here. I'm gonna go back and ask about the champion. And I'm gonna pull the date of when it was or when it was advertised from that standpoint and everything else that was just mentioned for
I
us.
say you
I
always
mean,
but-
stand
but-
there
but-
and say
ladies
what-
and
But you're saying
gentlemen.
you're hearing that, but you aren't hearing that without that proper notification, you can't, I mean, now you're telling us pretty much, well, this is after the fact, you know, this is gonna happen. No, I mean, no, that's not the way it's supposed to go down.
But ladies and gentlemen.
I have a question. Let me
Wait,
share.
before, he said only 3 people showed up. How
Two.
many of
It
us
was
here
2.
tonight, or 2? How many of us here tonight? There are more. So what we have to do, we have to get in numbers to make certain that this is reversed. Many people don't realize the impact that it's going to have.
Amen.
We do. So we need to be the foot soldiers to begin the process. If he doesn't have enough voting power or
That's it.
enough people on the board to vote against it, we need to make certain that it happens. If 3 schools can get it changed, why can't we?
No,
Amen.
Don
Amen.
Pedler and the other one is for reversing it, for not going forward at these other schools. 'Cause
Donna
they-
Ellen, who?
The other person who didn't vote for it, the other board member, the other new board member who didn't vote for those 3 schools, I can't recall her name.
Nancy Jessup.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am, for interrupting. I'm so sorry.
No,
You said what I was gonna say.
but just, excuse me, sir, what's your name?
Valentino Shoemaker.
Mr. Shoemaker, you hit, I appreciate what you just said. At the end of the day, y'all must realize I have 1 vote. At the end of the day, there takes 5 votes to change something on this board. And the reason the other two schools were taken off, the 3 schools were taken off, it ain't had nothing to do with, what it had to do with, I should say, the fact that them folks came out there and voiced their opinion.
But they knew, some of them had
And-
inside information that they knew.
And they came out and voiced their opinion. When we have meetings, and I'm not trying to be negative or anything, when we have meetings and we have stuff like, and I'm gonna sit here and admit, I will work to do a better job to get it out to you all. I admit to that. You know, but as a board member, I relied on the school system to do certain things. They went through and did the certain things, but they could have did more
But the fact of the
to
matter
get
is,
it to you all. But then at the same time period, I also want you to know that as I sat here, I hear the negative today, but I also got a lot of folks calling me with no problem with this too.
Lack of knowledge, they don't know.
So I am hearing both sides.
Yeah, but
I'm
what
getting
would be-
positive and negative.
What would be the positive? These folks are calling and saying, yeah, go ahead and put this up. We love to have it.
What now?
What are the positives that you say that folks are calling and saying that they would love to have this? Yes, it's fine to go ahead
At
and do
this
it.
particular location is the fact that we're not getting enough reception over here for as cell towers. I mean, far as wireless is concerned.
Is that this particular area or another area?
This particular, there's 3 areas that in District 5 that I'm getting the same thing of not having enough wireless. Flat Rock, Narvie, and King. they're a dead zone. When I say dead zone, meaning there's not enough wireless capability. Matter of fact, we don't even have wireless in this school. Because we're gonna have to do some things here to get wireless in this area. Yeah, so again, what I was trying to explain in the beginning, that wireless and technology done increase in this area.
But there are
And
existing towers.
There are existing towers.
Like one is already at Flat Rock, that other companies can co-locate on. They can lease that space, but they wanna own their own, so they could be the rentor and have other
Every
people,
little independent.
other people lease it from them. That's what T-Mobile's goal is.
I
with
can't
this
argue
service.
with that.
Okay,
because
so
I
why
don't-
do we want, if you're,
I'm gonna go back and look, but I'm telling you what the staff brought to us.
well, hey, I can't
In
do
this
that
area.
work for them, but I've been
We
doing a lot of
are
research.
from, Flat
And
Rock
it's not my
Elementary.
job, but I've been doing it.
I'm the PTA president from Flat Rock Elementary. Here's what happened last year. We got the information. I read some information in Crossroads. We researched. The principal put information on the marquee. I sent letters home to the parents. We did the phone message out to the parents, and email. We had myself, the principal, and a couple of people from the neighborhood to attend. When DeKalb County gave the information, they gave the pros and the cons. They told us, what could happen. They told us what could not happen based on their research. DeKalb County did do their own research. So the outcome was, okay, let's go ahead and move forward with it. My position as PTA president was this: I'm a little disappointed in the parents, because we did everything that we could to get the parents out to say, please, come and vote for this. Listen, I can't do it by myself. If I'm for it, then that means if I'm the only one there and I'm for it, then that's gonna go for Flat Rock. If I'm not for it, then and I say no, then it's not gonna go up. But we talked to them for about 2 or 3 weeks and ended up, now we got cell towers. No, we don't have a cell tower on our property. Yes, we do
Across
have.
the street.
It's not conducive to what we need. We have problems with wireless. They gave us a whole bunch of new, Title I, we got new laptops. We cannot use the laptops. That's a waste of county money. We may get those little, what do you call those? Tablets. Can't use the tablets because we don't have the proper service. Now, I have a child at Flat Rock. I researched. I know for my daughter's cell phone, for her to sit up on that cell phone, it's gonna cause more damage for her to sit up with that cell phone to her ear than what that tower is going to cause. Because, and this is based on your research from the 40 towers that are in existence now. The 40 towers that are in existence now has not been proven, nothing has been proven that based on those 40 towers, that brain damage has been caused, that cancer has been
It's not been
caused.
proven
How long
yet.
have they been up
not.
though?
Years
It has
down the
not.
road.
No, it hasn't.
How
But it
long
also-
have they been up though? Do you know
The
how
40
long?
tower in Atlanta,
Yeah.
Georgia?
No, here, around here.
Oh, I don't know about around
Well,
here, but
that's what
what
we're talking about.
The one on Big Miller Road, do you guys know how long that been up?
No, it's not one at Big Miller Grove. You're
It's
talking about
right
in
behind
that
Settle
shopping center.
Shopping Center. Do you guys know how long that been up? Does
Big Miller
anybody
Road
know
is
when that was
against
constructed?
No.
It's
Tell
not
us.
been 20 years.
It's been about 6 years.
Yeah, that's what I knew. It was
No,
less
I'm
than
saying,
10
it's
years.
been about 6 to 7 years. And the same thing with her, I'm part of PTA. When I was part of PTA then.
So did y'all send out
Wait a
flyers
minute.
We got,
at this school? You're part of PTA at this school.
Now I am the president of PTA. But back then, and I went back and asked our PTA president what they did as far as letting parents know. The meeting that we had here at MLK, our principal did send them emails, not email, but voicemail about the meeting that was happening here.
Voicemail.
Yes, it was a text, whatever you call it, to all, the calling
He said he
post.
wasn't responsible for the notification.
Well, it was
That's
sent
what
out,
he
the
told me.
voicemail was sent out to the parents here. And another thing, I'm gonna say this too, you guys, this meeting here was publicized, correct? It's on the AJC, the meeting you guys
No,
have
no,
here.
no.
That's not
Oh,
appropriate.
excuse me, I'm asking a
Oh, you
question.
talking about this one?
No,
This
no,
was
this
No,
meeting.
this meeting here,
This was
Was
done
this
today.
meeting-
Just
was this
today.
meeting published?
Just
No,
the
no.
meeting,
This
it
wasn't published?
came from our
It came
email.
Oh, I thought this meeting meeting was published.
Well,
That's
you
not-
need to check your facts before you state that.
Well, let
No, I'm asking
me,
the question, was
Well,
the
no.
meeting-
let me clarify something. Let me clarify something. I'm glad that we're here tonight, and I want to try to keep this to the point where we can continue to have dialogue, positive dialogue. But first of all, I'm sitting here trying to tell you all what happened. I have no reason to lie to none of you all. I know everybody sitting in here. And I'm just gonna talk from the heart. I was disappointed because the fact that we had these meetings. And I'm gonna sit here. I had one person that came to the board and said something about the cell tower for this area, and that was Viola. Period. She's the only one in this community.
We didn't know.
And I agree with what you're telling me now. I see
If I had known,
I
it would've been a
see
different
what you're
story.
saying.
Trust me.
But at the same time period, I'm sitting up there on this board. You elected me, and I'm looking for the community to come out, and I don't hear anything, and I make a decision now.
That's right. A lot of us
we
don't have
did,
children
we
at
did
school
some
anymore.
things, we did some things to send information out. What I'm hearing from you today, we need to do more than what we did in the past. And I agree for the parents who don't have kids here in the school system to reach you all. I agree with that. I said that earlier. I have no problem. Now, the school system, the school system and the county and the school system work differently. The county put up notices. They put up signs.
Because they know
We
it's gonna
don't.
impact, but y'all
We
should.
don't. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not
That's
saying
something
we
y'all should
shouldn't.
have followed
I'm
right
not
along.
saying we shouldn't.
But we should.
But I'll go back and look into it. I'm not here. I'm just telling you how things happen from that standpoint there. We have to get more, and just like Mr. Shoemaker said, we have to get more involved, and y'all know this.
She's a PTA.
I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody
are.
that's here
Yes, you are.
know that. Now, only thing I can see here tonight, I done heard your concern. I'm telling you, and just like Mr. Shoemaker said, if y'all want to come out and come to the meeting and say, hey, look, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, I need 4 more votes to go along with me to be able to go back and say we want to reverse this. But then at the same time period, I got folks that called and said, well, Jay, we need wireless in our community. We need the space in here in order to be able to get the things in the school system, as well as we got some dead spots. Flat Rock, Narvik, and King, there's not enough power here for the wireless in order for us to continue to go on. As far as these companies are concerned, I can take it off the school property. Say we took it out the school property. At the end of the day, they're still gonna come back and put it in the community because there's not enough wireless here. It may not be on this property, but it's going to happen. And that's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say to you from that. And then earlier today, I didn't know how this meeting was gonna turn out. An hour before I got here, I click on the AJC just to see what's on the AJC today, because I hadn't been on it. I always go on there and just see what happened in DeKalb. And I see a big sign up on the AJC saying, community meeting on cell towers at MLK at 7 o'clock. So I was sitting there saying, where in the world this come from here? Because when we talk,
No,
When
I
we
mean,
talk-
it wasn't me, but
say it was you, but
people
what
still
I-
need to know, what's the problem? This is a public meeting.
But I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
We're not
But-
having anything, ain't nothing.
No, there's nothing to hide from that. But what I would like to have done, if we were gonna have this, it was gonna be advertised like that, I would have brought some more people here from the county to be able to answer some questions. When I talked to you earlier, I said, hey, I have no problem sitting here talking to the parents in the community about this. But I'm gonna tell you what the email said. The email said it went all over District 5. It went all the way up on the other side of the county, inviting them people over here to talk about cell towers.
Well, they
And they can come and talk from there. But I wanted to hear from you all, and it would have been better for me if I had known if you were gonna do that. I would have been much more prepared to sit here and say, hey, look, I need somebody here to answer some of these
No, we're
questions.
just asking
that
questions
you're asking
about
from
what
them.
happened here. We're not
Right.
even getting on that. That's all
And going from there. So you know, that's when I said, hey, look, you know, I have no problem sitting here.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the thing, and I see, I'm looking at everybody's faces, I'm seeing people toot their faces up. It's just the whole tone of this situation. Like, you represent the board, am I correct? And when I came in here, it was like he said, it was just well, it's gonna happen anyway. I mean, at least we can express some concern. At least you could kind of validate people's feelings. And I think that, and maybe you're saying we need more people, so maybe you can talk to somebody to see if you can get more board members, county members, or whomever you need to get, and then we can try to get more parents on our end and come back and redo this thing. But I mean, the tone, it seems like it's such a negative tone. It's almost like, well, I mean, I'm just here just 'cause ain't nothing gonna be done about it. And that doesn't make people feel secure, it doesn't make people feel,
Well, let me,
because like the young lady back there is asking, where's the parents? We're here, the parents are here, these parents are here. So we have to deal with the parents that are here, and the people that are here in the community, who are trying to get this issue resolved and trying to find out what's going on, because we were not informed of anything at all. Lorraine, our big community person, she kind of sent us emails because she had our information. That's how we got the information, but outside of that, we would have never knew anything about this meeting. And we live right here next to the school, literally right here next to the school.
since I heard the opposition of the cell tower, I have talked to some of my fellow board members, and I have went back and had a conversation with them, and that's the reason I said what I said from there. I need 4 more votes in order to, hey, if y'all, that's what y'all want to look at and see how we can do this, then fine from there. I'm willing to look at it, but I'm just telling you where we sit right now on the board is concerned for having the votes to go back and remove this from there. And at the same time, I want to bring to you all that I got people out here saying also that we need the wireless and we need it here in the community. We need the capability to do that.
But they have a process. The T-Mobile and other cell companies have a process of going to the county and getting towers located in areas, and the county will look at those areas and they will put up a notice, and we will, there's a process. There's a process. So they have alternatives. They have alternatives. School systems shouldn't be in the business of trying to have cell service at schools. The business here is education, and there are other technologies. If this school is having a problem with cell service, there's a little box that T-Mobile can put on the side of this school. It costs more than a tower, but it's more efficient. So if you need me to look that up, I'll look that up too. But I know that is an alternative.
I'd like to know what research did T-Mobile do as far as co-locating on some of these towers that's already in existence? See, because people are thinking, well, we need more towers, we need more power here for the cell phone, but if you already got the towers here that they can be co-located on, was that research done, and why didn't they just go put it there? Because those microwaves are dangerous. And if anybody think that they don't, I'm an old telecommunication person myself, and I know what telephone wire would do for that. Those microwave wires would do. And those waves are dangerous.
I got a tablet going around. If everybody put their name on it and their email, if you haven't signed on it, I would appreciate it if you would from that standpoint. If you haven't.
But see, I want to know what T-Mobile did as far as
answer to your question, I wrote it down.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
I don't like to interrupt.
Go ahead, man.
I kind of wanted to make a couple of comments as well.
But see, we could
As far as
decide
being
if
on the
that's acceptable
PTA,
or not.
I've been on Bowie PTA for 6 years. This is my first year being at another school on another PTA. We got nothing last year.
Wow.
So we couldn't notify parents, and we
And
didn't.
Donna Dees is the same representative that we have, so I don't understand how.
No, she wasn't the PTA president. Donna wasn't the PTA president.
Another comment I want to make was you said that you did have a couple of parents come out, like 3. So, I mean, what was their position? Were they opposed?
No, they
Who
wasn't.
were the 3 people that came?
They wasn't against it.
They didn't understand
They're
that.
opposed to it.
So if you only had 3 and that was all the representation you had, why would you go forward?
I said they wasn't against the tower coming here.
Oh, they weren't opposed?
No.
So they were for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had no
But if you only have 3 people to come,
Then
apparently that's not a consensus. My question is, why didn't you take further steps, saying apparently this didn't get out the way it needed to get out?
that was where I was kind of going before I
Yes.
finished. When I first met you, Mr. Cunningham, before you were on the board, I used to see you at everybody's PTA meeting.
Right.
All the time, and that's what I liked about you, and that's why I voted for you.
Okay, thank you.
And to be honest, I feel like you've done a good job.
Thank you.
You know, and you can only do so much as far as, because I understand being homeowners association president, PTA president, it's hard to get parents to get out and represent and do things. But you gotta
I
come
agree
up
with
with
that.
ways. You could have come to PTA meetings and just drop the flyers at PTA meetings and stuff like that and got the information disseminated there. But then again, like a lot of parents here are saying, they don't have children in school. So you gotta, you know, come up with other ways. But like I said, I applaud, you know, your work, but we understand what's happened. We need to know from this point on, what can we do to try to get this decision reversed?
Well, one of the things, can I answer a question right quick?
Sure.
One of the things that the new superintendent's done, we've just hired a new communication person and a new technology person for the school system. I'm gonna start with the communication person. Communication part, we've done a piss poor job as a school system for getting information out, for using, and then the technology part, we've done a lot of putting technology into the schools and bringing a lot of new things on board, but we gotta learn how to use it. We gotta learn how to teach our teachers how to use it. We gotta have somebody that can go out here and work with them. Then on top of that, the ones who don't wanna change, we're gonna have to deal with that issue too. So with them are two things that are happening. You're gonna see a Facebook page. You're gonna see Twitter. We're gonna start texting you all about different events. Whereas you're gonna get it on your phone at real time about texting. We have that capability now that we've been putting in for the last 2 years, but we're bringing someone in now that can work with the whole gamut to be able to do that. The TV station, you're seeing the meetings, but we need to do more to talk about some of the positive things that are going on in the school system, along with getting information to you like this cell tower or whatever, as far as events are concerned. And I'll be the first to sit here and say that as a school system, we have not done the job that we should be doing in order to educate our parents. Thirdly, come January, the third Saturday of every month, and you can write this down, the third Saturday every month, starting in January, I'm gonna have an educational forum at Salem Middle School every Saturday from 9 in the morning to 12. And basically what I'm gonna do is start talking about some of these issues and bring you information to the 5th district, as well as inviting some of the other districts in our community to come join in to let you know what's going on. And that's gonna start in January. So this coming Thursday, I got a meeting with the same technology people, because you're gonna start getting emails, as well as more email and blasting from me with my picture on it, saying, hey, look, this is what's going on in our district. This is what's going on, and going from there. So that's gonna start. I got Thursday, I'll go through training on how to set this up and get it done. So we've put some things in place to work on this communication piece, but we're just at the beginning part of doing it. Then lastly, I just want to add, we're getting ready, the old building A on North Druid, on North Indian Creek, where we had the school system, we're getting ready to close down the school system. We're going to do it one Sunday, and we're going to transfer over here on Lawrenceville Highway. We put in all new cables, all new everything that hasn't been done in almost 35 years to bring us up to the new 21st century. So there are some things that are happening. Unfortunately, it took some time to get it done. And we're gonna have to do a better job of educating our constituents in the community. So that's being worked on. Now the other piece that I'm gonna have to add to it though is getting these homeowners associations and the folks that don't have kids in the school system. Now, as I leave here tonight, I'm gonna take that to the school system this week and see how we can coordinate that to do a better job on that end also. And then not only just for the 5th district, I'm talking about the whole, we need to do that for the whole system, period. So there are some things that are getting ready to happen but you know, it's getting ready to happen. It ain't happened. So, you know, I just want to mention them things, and you can hold me responsible for that on what I just told you, because that's what we're working toward with these two people that we just hired. And so we got a lot of things that we're moving forward with, especially on the communication end from there. Well,
I appreciate the efforts that are forthcoming for the communication, but the ones that have not been made up to this point,
okay.
as far as if it's found that the right channels were not properly used
Okay.
to communicate the cell tower, is that not a reason to reverse the decision?
That's
In
a
and of
reason for us to go.
itself?
It is a reason for us to go back and look at it from there.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. That's what I'm sitting there saying this evening.
And just for the 4 votes, you're talking about the board members, right?
The board members.
Okay, so are you going to speak with them or?
Yeah, I've been speaking with them, and I will go back today after this meeting and get an expression, you know, tell them what I heard from my community.
Because we have petitions, I
Are we
have
gonna-
petitions
so Are we
already.
still gonna meet on November, see, we need to, are we still gonna meet on November 7th?
That's at the board meeting.
Yeah.
That's at the board meeting. But I have petitions if you need proof. We
Okay.
have petitions that we got people sign online, and we have written
Okay.
copies
Okay.
of folks.
Mr. Cunningham, we just want you to know, and I'm sure you do at this point, that we're very concerned about this situation
Okay.
here.
Okay.
You know, for me to say, I'm sorry that we weren't here when you took that vote, when there was like 2 or 3 folks. I guarantee it's because we didn't know anything
And
about it.
I'm gonna sit here and say we gotta do a better job. of
We
getting
do
to
have
you.
to do a better job, because
So,
when I moved out here, and I know this sounds maybe irrelevant, when I moved out here, there was only one subdivision in this whole wooded community. That was Woody Hill Civic Association.
Okay.
That was back in 1976. Nothing else was out there, no houses,
I
nowhere.
believe it.
Well, you're on that side.
I believe it because I was raised in Gresham Park and we couldn't even come out here, period.
But Mr. Cunningham,
They were
Mr.
shooting
Cunningham, my whole
deer
point,
around here.
my whole point being, and is that we've been out here a long time. I know I moved out here in '85. She was out here before I. Point being is that we had children growing up during that time. These kids are all grown, married, and gone.
True.
And left us behind. Okay? There's like over 72 homes in that civic association. And none of us, I dare say, I would say 90%, 95%, if that, didn't know anything about what was going on.
Right.
Had we known, we'd have roared down there, because we've done this before. We fought as a community to keep certain things a certain way. But you can't do that if you don't know anything about it.
I agree. Let me ask you one question on that comment. We're gonna have to tackle an issue on wireless. So along with me going back looking at this, I want to be honest and say that I'm gonna have to go back and look and see if we can do something different. Because at the end of the day, we gotta have the wireless capacity for the technology and everything that's going on in this community. We can't have a school sitting here that don't have wireless, and we're sitting in one now. We can't have it over, and so from that standpoint there, I want to be honest and tell you, it's 2 things. I hear what you're saying, but I'm also going to have to go back and do some research to say, how can we get around this issue of having enough wireless capacity so that we can do what we need to do in these schools?
Well, you
And that's another decision. That's another decision, because right now we don't have enough in this area.
If we not have a tower on this school, I think everybody agrees, business is business these days. T-Mobile gonna get their towers or co-locate where they want.
Right.
But if we don't get one on this school, I guarantee you they'll get one somewhere. Wouldn't that accommodate?
And that's when I'm gonna have to go back and that's what I'm saying. I'm just being honest. That's when I'm gonna have to go back and look, because y'all asking me to make decisions for our kids and what we're trying to do here. And technology is one of the ways that we're gonna be able to get that done.
We got members here of the Dogwood Hill Civic Association when they were building the school. And the plans they had drawn up, the entrance to this school was gonna be down in our community. And we went down in full force and got it changed. That's why you got the entrance out here. Because we knew about it and we voiced our opinion.
You mean the main entrance?
The main entrance
The main
was
entrance was gonna,
it was gonna be on Dogwood Farm Road.
Okay.
and we fought it, and they changed it out here to.
Well, I appreciate y'all let that back entrance back down.
Yeah, we did.
And that area where they're talking about put the tower, I don't know what had happened to those drawing up. That area was supposed to be for the elementary school.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
The PTA back then didn't want an elementary school on the high school, because my child was here too, the first class that graduated here. We didn't want an elementary school. We fought for them not to put an elementary school.
But y'all
on
won,
there.
right?
And he
Y'all
was part
won,
of
right?
PTA then.
Yeah.
We didn't want it, but then.
But y'all won because you were
Right,
informed.
but go back then, that was a strong PTA back then. And we had about 1,500 member in there, but then we have about 600 that showed up to our meeting because that was sent out to the information about the parent. So we didn't want an elementary, so that's why that part of it was scrapped. Because we didn't want it.
Okay.
I wanted to just give you an overview. I'm Viola Davis with the Unhappy Taxpayer Voter. When we found out about this, it caught us between two issues. We was fighting the gasification plan, and this sort of snuck up, backdoor on us. Normally, if it came through the county, I could tell you right off, I would be on it. But it came through the school board, and it came through the school board for a reason. Schools and churches are exempt from the zoning codes of the county. And it's advantageous for them to go that route as far as T-Mobile, because by going through the school system and the churches, they can totally disregard the law by using the federal law. And this is the problem we're having, and we're saying we need to fight it because it's causing a lot of parents and property owners, it's catching them off guard where they can't fight. And they're doing this all around the nation. Now, if you give me your email, I think it's important that you read stuff on your own. I will send to you a copy of the email I sent to every board member. Not only did I send it to every board member, I sent it to every one of your legislatures. In the House, is in the Senate. I sent it to every media. I sent it to a number of these people. And then after I did that, we went and we took pictures, drove all the way to DeKalb County, because we picked out the schools. We wanted to see which schools did T-Mobile pick when they chose to put their towers on. We went to each one of those schools that T-Mobile did, and we took pictures of the towers, and we noticed that most of them were located not necessarily where they originally wanted to put them, but right next to the playgrounds and the stadiums where the children play. So we wanted everyone to be able to see for themselves. If you go on the internet to YouTube and you put parents against, DeKalb parents against cell towers, you will see both of those presentations on YouTube. When we spoke before the school board, it wasn't just me. There was another mother from Smoke Rocks, black woman. She said she didn't want it either. If you'll go to June, I think it's June the 8th or the 11th, school board meeting, they have video on demand. Look at those videotapes. When I went, a lot of times people say, you always talk about what you don't want. You never give the opposite positive. So I said this time, not only will I put all the information on a CD, I typed up a memo to each school board member, and I told them, you need to hold off on this. Number one, because you only gave the parents 25 days of notice. And that is on the memo. If you give me your email, I will forward you the memo. I also said this is an alternative. Most of our parents do not understand. The state of Georgia pulls $100 million out of our school system every year. Over $100 million. If there's ever a time that we should go to the state of Georgia and say, we're sorry. We can't afford for you to take another $100 million so that you can redistribute that money to rural Georgia because they don't want to increase their property taxes. We have a lot of needs in our school system. We need that $100 million, which is our money. We ain't begging for nothing. That's our money. We needed to come back here. When I sent out that email, I sent that part out to every one of our legislatures, and I said, instead of us fighting with each other, let's put up a united front. The legislators, from the House and the Senate, because the school board can't do it by themselves. The school board been asking the legislators to do this how long, Jay?
Ever since I've been on the board for the last 5 years.
Why the people don't know that this
So-
redistribution is.
Well, one of the things in 2000 and I want to say 7 or 8, we just, as a board, the board changed. And as the board changed, we started asking different questions. In the past, we had board, and I'll say this, we had 20 years of the board just sitting there in the county, just the county moving, the board just sitting. It depends on who you got on there in order to turn around and make some decisions. When I first got elected, it took me 2 years because the fact to do anything, because the fact that everybody that was sitting there saying, oh, we're getting ready to leave, so we're going to pass it on to the new board. And that's what was being said. We're going to pass it. So anything that came up, it was 3 of us that got on the board together. That was myself, Tom Bourne, and Jim Redone, and we was the new crew. Then when they left, we got another 4 more people in. And I'm gonna sit here and say this, out of the 5 years I've been on the board, this is the first year that I can say we've been productive out of the 5 years. Where we're making decisions, we're disagreeing with each other, but we're making decisions and we're moving forward on some things and getting some things done. Y'all gonna find out down the road, this warning that we're on, we finna come off of that from Saks and everything. So we're moving in a positive direction. So I just want to say that it's a matter of who's on the board from that standpoint. And our state legislators, that changed too. And who we put on here, that's just the way it is. And Viola's right from there.
But now I need to tell you, I put forth an open records request for all documentation.
Okay.
So that I could know exactly how the community was really informed. Because as I stated in the memo, we were not given the proper notification. Now, I was informed that they could not inform us right out because the T-Mobile was negotiating the contract.
Right.
And that they did not come out until this year.
Right.
So I'm a little surprised when I hear that the information was put out last year. Now, they told me that they could not locate a lot of that documentation that I requested.
Okay.
But since you now said that is possible, because I said I wanted to know, since we provided you with lots of documentation, why not to do this?
Right.
As well as with the health, because I'm a registered nurse, I'm critical care. I can tell you what death looked like with brain cancer. That's a hard death to watch and care for. Now, I presented all of that on a disc, and I gave it to each board member.
You did.
Besides sending y'all email. And I explained, our folk do not operate on email. Not many of us even have a list group where we can inform them like that. And that's why I really came to y'all saying, let's put up a united front. And we were ignored. And it was nothing more hurtful for those 3 to get taken off using our information.
It's true. They used our stuff. We worked real hard.
It was our information that even motivated a lot of them to get out and do petitions. And we couldn't even help our own.
That's a shame.
But instead of coming here, I don't want to fight with you. Because $3 million ain't no money.
All right.
We should be going after 100 million. Let's work together on that.
Well, one of the things I want to say this, and I'm again just being upfront. Them 3 that took it off. Well, I ain't gonna get into that.
I know why.
You
don't have to explain.
What you just said, but there was more to it than just that. So I have no problem with that. Mr. Nook?
Jay, 2 questions. Was MLK always on the list, or did the list change to add MLK at one point?
No, there was in the beginning there was on one school, and that was Lakeside. Then the question came, where else are you putting, or where else are you looking at, or where else are you putting towers from that standpoint there?
So the original list of 12, MLK was always on there?
No, it was only one school.
No, when they added the
Yeah,
additional.
when they added, yeah, it was original what's on there.
But there's over 100 sales towers
Yeah.
around Lakeside. There's over 100.
And then the second question, based on what I'm hearing, and I guess that's the case, we have your commitment to move on the board that MLK be removed from the list?
I'm gonna go back and talk to the other board members. I do have another meeting where I do have some people that's for what we're doing.
Maybe we all need to meet
I'm
together.
not gonna sit here and say that I'm not gonna meet with them.
No,
And
of course.
hear what they have to say
We
from
need
that
to meet with
standpoint there. And based on that, then I'm moving forward from there. But what's more critical to me is us making sure that to me, is making sure that we was notified. And that procedure, and that's one of the things I wanna verify from that
Right,
standpoint.
understood, but if we could get your commitment that you'll move to remove MLK, I mean, Flat Rock seems like they're okay with it, and we don't want to get into Flat Rock's business,
We
but
have to go to MLK.
Again, you're asking him to make a commitment, and he's only one
One
board.
person.
correct, but it's gotta hit the floor.
Somebody has to make
Somebody has to.
Well, I'm gonna take it to the floor. I can sit here and say that and voice the opinion that I met today, and this what came out of the meeting.
Right.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can sit
Honestly,
here and
what
say
are
that.
the 19 of us going to do going forward? I see people walking out, you want to voice your opinion and you want to grandstand, but what will we do to help this community understand that this is going to be problematic? Who will stay after Mr. Cunningham leaves and say, this is the strategy we need to devise to
Absolutely.
make certain this doesn't happen? And
Absolutely.
then bring all these numbers forward when it's time to meet that board and
And go from
say,
there.
it will not happen here.
All right.
It shouldn't happen in it.
It shouldn't happen at any school.
Yeah, but
Let me retract the comment that you made. I can't speak for Flat Rock.
I
Now-
thought Flat Rock was
No.
okay with it.
We had 4 people, 2 people from the community voted yes, and then it was myself and the principal. Now, if this gets out and Flat Rock parents says, hey, we wanna recount, then again, just like you said, we gotta come up with a strategy and then, take back what that vote was last April. But right now, as it stands, Flat Rock was okay because of the 2 parents that were there. I mean, not even parents, community members that were there and voted yes.
And we can't say MLK because the parents from the MLK
Right.
school we haven't met and talked about it.
Right.
The PTA haven't sent something out this year to say, okay, this is what's going on, this is what we need to get done.
Right.
So I can't say, yeah, MLK doesn't want it. As far as the people, it's 18 or 19 individuals here, we have 1,600 parents for MLK.
Yeah,
So
but that
we have
meeting
to
was
do-
only 3
excuse
people.
me?
The meeting was only 3 people.
But what I'm saying to you is you cannot comment for MLK PTSA. You cannot say MLK
No, he's gonna
parents
talk
don't
about the
want it.
residents in the.
Right.
Yeah, because this is the community
We
that's
talking about the
affected.
residents.
It's really the
I
community, it's a
understand that,
community issue.
I understand that
Really.
too, but we still
Because the
have,
parents are transient.
we still
That's
have.
right.
Transient. They don't stay and live here. We here 24/7. Every time I go out in my neighborhood, I'm gonna see that.
And I'm gonna
cell
say this too, and I, you guys could take it through it. I need to see you guys at PTA. The ones that live in MLK area, I haven't seen any, and I'm just gonna say this.
I was on the.
You're not
I haven't
parents.
seen parents coming to the meeting. We need more than just this. Our students need help from our parents, even the ones who live in this community. They need to see example. Our kids are dying in this. They're not getting what they need to get. So we need parents to do not just the cell tower, but everything else. We have class here with 34 students in the lab class, science class. They can't do lab in this class. So I'm not saying as a parents, we have to do those things too. Not just a cell tower. It's more issue that's going on with these student education.
When's the next
Exactly. Let me share
PTSA
this
meeting?
when. 5 years ago, I started a group called Grassroots Neighborhood Connect. I live on Dogwood Farm, on the subdivision. And I went around to each board meeting, and I invited each community to join in Grassroots Neighborhood Connect. The very first year, a few MLK students came over, a few teachers came over. The very next year, well, let me back it up. 3 years before that, Dr. Brown came over with all of the board members
Sure did.
for educational forum.
He sure did.
That's when I first moved there. Been there 9 years. Then 3 years later, we started having Grassroots Neighborhood Connect. I'd have to come up to this school and beg the band director, beg whoever was in charge to have the band to just march down the street like during homecoming. And it goes both ways. Jake comes over, he's been over. Mr. Rand, the senator, has been over. Lee May. We don't get any involvement from the school. So if I would come to you now and ask, next year, can we have the band just to march down the street? PTS they set up last year. Yeah, they set up last year and they registered. But it needs to be, this is like a community thing. Right. And I was talking to our president of NAACP, John Evans, and he was saying, do we have, now when I first heard about it, Cherie called and asked me could I give names of people in the community, and I helped with that. But we just need a unit. We just come, you come, it's in my front yard, it's once a year. It's the first Saturday in October. And I'm not asking to get in your business, I'm just asking for all of us to just meet together and just meet. The schools, the churches, the community. And that's all I'm asking. So it's not just the school, it's the entire community. We just sit back and we wait, like you said the other day. It's not good to be reactive. Right. If we just meet together just once a year, just to know, hey, how you doing? I'm Miss Browning, I'm Miss Smith, and just going about your business. So we just need more cohesiveness as a group of people. I don't care if you live in Middlebrook, Glen, Dogwood, Manor, River Mist. It doesn't matter. If you can just come together once a year and say, hey, how you doing? I think we can eliminate a lot. A whole lot.
I'm just gonna sum this up right quick and just tell you what I'm gonna do. And there's two other things I want to talk about and real quick and go from there. I heard what everyone had to say. There's some research that I'm gonna go back for the effectiveness of us getting the word out. I need to go back and check on that and follow up on that end. The secondly, I'm also check and see how many towers are based on this map you gave me that we can try to they can get on for the use. I'm gonna have to do the research as far as the wireless is concerned to make sure that we can get wireless in this area, especially for this school here is concerned, because they're saying there's not enough capacity here for wireless. And I am gonna meet with them people who are have no problems with the cell towers. And based on the information that I get, I'm gonna go back and approach the other board members. You said Donna and Nancy
they
would vote against it from there. But I will, talk to the other board members. Mr. Shoemaker, I just want to say that you all and everybody who works with him or as this group, I got one voice. It takes 5 people to do anything on that board. If this is what you all want, then you got to come to these board meetings and help me get that point across. And not only just for the cell towers, but for anything that we want to do in this community.
We just need
and then lastly, I just want to say, when I start having these town hall meetings or whatever we're going to call it in January, I'm going to need your support because the fact that only thing we're going to talk about is education. I don't want to talk about no politics. I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about education because the fact that we've done a lot in this school system, regardless of what's being said negative about us. There's a lot of good things that are going on in the school system. Now, I just want to say the last 2 years, MLK didn't make AYP because of 5 kids the year before and 6 kids, 5 kids this year and 6 kids by our graduation rate. Every other category is up. Every other category is up. Same thing at Miller Grove. Same thing at Miller Grove. We're going to make an announcement this week. Southwest DeKalb made AYP this year on the second go-round. We're just trying to get the paperwork to sign off on it. And once we make that, we're going to make that announcement. But every high school in this area have improved. Now, the middle school, we ain't nowhere near. We got some issues there, and that's some of the things I want to talk about in January. Because middle school is off the chain. So we got some work to do in the middle school part from there. The next thing I want to go into was the SPLOST. SPLOST III is in this next June 2012. MLK is getting a 31-room addition. It's going to start here in the front of the school here. 31 rooms, which is going to be a 9th grade academy. and basically it's going to be geared up for the ninth graders that are coming to this school. It's going to take 18 months for the construction to be completed. Along with that, we're getting ready to fix these plumbing problems that we're having with the smell and everything else that's going on in this school. Here, all that money's tied up into that. The gym area is made like a middle school. We're going to redo it to the point where you can have entrance and exit into the locker room, so we won't have that middle school function. So we're going to improve that. And all that is, we're talking about September. They got a tentative date of September of next year to break ground with dirt. But with Dr. Atkinson coming in and some of the meetings we have, we're trying to move that date up into June. May or June to start moving dirt here at this particular school here as far as, and then the 18 months will start from there. The theme of the school is going to be based off of the name here, which is Martin Luther King High School. Along with that, we're going to integrate where we have an orientation for ninth graders that are coming into this school to understand what Martin Luther King is and who he is, and understand the nonviolence, etc. We need to educate our kids on that name and what he stands for. So they're going to integrate that into the school. Along with that, the staff here has done an outstanding job for us. Like I said, in every category has improved. The gap is surpassed in every academic standpoint. We just need to work on our graduation rate here at this school for the last 2 years. The same thing happened at Miller Grove. Miller Grove getting ready to start a $9 million project where we're adding 10 classrooms in Miller Grove, and we're going back to make sure that every one of the career ed classes are certified, meaning when that kid goes through that particular class, say it's engineering, they leave that with a diploma, a certification diploma from that particular class. So we're making the rooms bigger so that we'll meet the standards in order to make that certification. So that's a nine room addition. They're at that max now, and we don't want to have trailers there, so we're getting ready to start that in March. They're breaking ground in March. It's a done deal there. Southwest DeKalb, and all this is in the 5th district. We're getting ready to start do a 640 seat auditorium with an amphitheater and 31 classroom addition on the Southwest DeKalb. When I first ran for office, I talked about getting rid of all these trailers. Once these 3 projects start, them trailers are gone. The vision was getting leadership in these high schools to start off, and it's paying off. And I have to say that because of the fact that Mr. Patrick came from Druid Hills, Miss Moulton came from Lakeside. We got Angela Bethea, who's at Southwest DeKalb, who graduated from Southwest, went to Spelman. Now she's back at Southwest as the principal. We got Mr. Preacher, who came from Redan, and he's at Miller Grove High School. So and then we have Arabian Mountain. So all the high school the goal was to get new leadership, and I want to say the last 2 years they've closed the gap, and we're this close. But it don't count till we get over that hump. But we're that close, and so that's part of what's happening in SPLOST III. It is now after 5 o'clock, so I can say some things and give because there's some rules that I can't talk about SPLOST, but I can't do it during school hours, so I can do it now. And basically, I'm just bringing information to you. Along with the amphitheater, half of Southwest DeKalb the back part of Southwest DeKalb is not complete. In SPLOST IV in this district, we got $4 million tied up in there for Southwest DeKalb. We got Bowie Elementary is getting a new roof. We got Miller Grove Middle is being redone totally. Lighting, the ceiling, everything in Miller Grove Miller is being redone. Redan High School is getting a $20 million makeover, along with Stone Mountain, along with Cedar Grove need a new auditorium. They don't have an auditorium at Cedar Grove High School. It needs to be redone also. So in SPLOST IV, there's a lot that's coming to the South DeKalb area, and I'm gonna get away and quit saying South DeKalb area. There's a lot coming to DeKalb County out of this $475 million that this continuation of this penny tax, which we've been doing for the last 15 years, and we see the product that we're getting down in the schools and the buildings, and the majority of that money has been on the South side. People don't want to sit here. They want to sit here and say, well, you know, we're building Shamley, and y'all are gonna be honest with you. I don't went to all these schools. At the end of the day, kids are everywhere, and we need to make sure these kids have a facility. And Shamley was a dump, and they need a new school. That's simple as that. We done built these schools. We got a Raven was just built over here. King has been built in the last 10 years. We got Miller Grove done built over here the last 2 years. But we got some schools that's been neglected. And that was one of them from that standpoint there. So I try to get away from this north-south bit. Kids are kids, and they're everywhere. And we need to make sure they get an education. So on the SPLOST, November the 8th is the vote. I'm recommending everybody to go on the website and look at the list on what we're gonna spend the $475 on, and it's a continuation of the last 15 years that we've been doing SPLOST, and we got to make sure our facilities are up to par. We got $2 billion worth of needs in the DeKalb County school system, and $475 is only taking a little chunk out of the needs, but this is something that we need to continue to vote on and make sure that we're revitalizing our facility in the school system. But lastly, I want to hey, y'all gonna be happy with our new leadership, with our superintendent. She's making some moves. She's moving some things forward. A lot of folks right now in the school system, they don't know what's going to happen, and because she's analyzing it. Today, she's over at Columbia High School having a chat with parents, and then the next one in this community will be at Miller Grove High School on November the 1st, and it gives you all the opportunity to come out and voice your opinion. And basically, all she's doing is sit down listening, and they taking notes. And what she's going to do is come up with a strategic plan that she's going to present to us as a board, but also she's inviting you all to be part of that strategic plan. So they're like Mr. Shoemaker said, you need to go on the website and look at when these meetings are coming up so you can turn around and be at these meetings and give your input, especially the ones who kids done left. Y'all still paying taxes.
Amen.
As you paying taxes, you need to make sure that your schools in your neighborhood is the kids are being educated, because then the same kids are gonna come back and vandalize your house. They're gonna turn around and do the negative things that we don't want them to do because we're not educating. And so we gotta make that a priority. And I ain't going nowhere. And I'm sure that everyone I know sitting in this room here, we ain't going nowhere. All our kids. How many got kids in the school that's here today? They got kids in the school system.
We still have it at Marlboro.
At Marlboro. But I can sit here and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We grew up here at King.
Yeah.
And we stay in this community. I stay right here on Browns Mill. So at the end of the day, we ain't going nowhere. So we got to do everything that we can to turn around and make sure that the education becomes a priority, and open our hands up and our arms up to anybody who moves in our community and say, hey, we're here to work with you. And we're going to make sure you're on point. And we need to get back to that. So I know I didn't, as far as the detail, as far as SPLOST is concerned, go to the website, look at the information. We need to get this, I gave you my, just type in DeKalb County Schools. DeKalb County School, and you'll see the SPLOST information. Go in there and look at it, and we need to get people out to vote. Lastly, there is a group that's fighting SPLOST, and at the end of the day, I just hope that as you go back and look, this is not a new tax. This is something that we've been doing for the last 15 years. And I know everybody's looking at tax, all these pennies everybody trying to get. But this is something toward the education of our kid and something that we need. A lot of folks, you're going to hear negative things because Crawford Lewis got indicted or Pat in that situation. But at the end of the day, I'm going to speak from my opinion on what was brought to us and we're looking at. It was about procedures more so than money. Because we got the product. We got the product.
You got what product?
When I say the product, we got the buildings. We got the buildings up. Columbia, we got the towers. What I want to say, the Dunwoody Elementary, Arabian Mountain, all them schools were done through that process. So, you know, we need to continue to make sure that we have the right people in charge, number one, so we won't have this issue again. And number two, make sure that we hold everybody accountable.
Yeah, I read on the website, I'm thinking, maybe I'm wrong, is the SPLOST money's paying for the legal fees?
No, that is not true.
I read that, but then
By law, we can only lose SPLOST money for construction, period.
And for the ones that are listed in the referendum.
In the referendum.
The priority list.
The part, that list, that's it. We can't use it for, so that's not
right,
true.
MLK is
So, we can't use that money. Mr. Shoemaker?
I said
Mr.
they on the
Cunningham,
SPLOST III.
when you talk about the new facilities going up, what I've seen in DeKalb County, and I work in Gwinnett County.
Okay.
And when I say they build beautiful facilities, and you know, and our goal is teaching and learning in Gwinnett County.
Right.
So that's the focus. But when they build schools, they also make certain the landscaping goes with the school.
Right.
You have Arabian Mountain up here, it looks like a jungle. I mean, it's terrible. When you look around here at King is not landscaped beautifully. You have a building, but I mean, the facilities are terrible when it comes to landscaping. How much of the money is put toward at least the beautification on the outside, as well as the inside? You can have a building, but if it looks terrible on the outside, how many kids are going to really want to come in there and keep that building up?
Well, first of all, let me go back to Arabian Mountain. Arabian Mountain right now is in the Arabian Mountain Reserve from that standpoint there. That technology, environmental school, that's where you see that it looks like weeds, but that's part of that environment now. But there is a problem there. The problem is we had, doing all these changes and everything else that's going on that we're dealing with in the school system, the contract came to the end. We outsourced. As a board member, there's two things I did as a pilot at Arabian Mountain. We outsourced the maintenance and the cleaning inside the school, and we outsourced the landscaping. And we did it as a pilot program. And the reason I was pushing that to show that it's a lot cheaper. We don't have the personnel, we got to buy the equipment, and it was working. But then when the contract came to an end, with all this commotion of changing superintendents and all that, so the contract was dropped. We just got the contract back on board, and now they're playing catch up to get the weeds back or get that environmental part back where it needs to be. So there is a problem, it is being addressed, and it's being fixed. The other part as far as MLK is concerned, and with the new, we're getting ready to do the additional landscape is going to be added, but then we're also looking at King to do an outsource at King, because right now we're sitting on 88 acres. And 88 acres, two people or one person can't keep 88 acres up, and we're going to have to make sure. So we're looking at that piece there for us, the outsource. And not only that part, we're looking at, if you've been to Arabian Mountain, if I had to grade the school as far as cleaning is concerned, Arabian Mountain be first in the 5th district. Waiting Mountain be first, and Miller Grove would be second. We got issues here.
Yeah.
Okay, and a lot of it revolves around, we're playing catch up. The school's been run down. At one point, we had 2,400 kids in this school when it was first built, and it don't took its wear and tear. So what we're looking at is when we get ready to do this addition, we're looking at bringing the outsource in for the maintenance is concerned on the inside and the landscaping. And there is additional landscaping once we present the layout of the school addition. You will see additional trees and et cetera from there. But one of the things that I talked to Mr. Patrick about for this school is before then, we can't wait until then. So right now, I'm working with him to turn and get some pine straw, get some, and we're gonna have a Saturday, it'll probably take 2 Saturdays, and that entryway, and working with the PTA, that entryway as you come down into the school, and right here at the front door, we're drawing up a plan to take care of that ASAP from that standpoint there. So I agree with you, but it's not only this school, it's every school pretty much that we ran into a problem. And then when we cut the budget, landscaping was one of the things that we cut that was in the fine print. And they go back to having board members that ask questions. The superintendent bring you something and saying, well, okay, we need to cut $115 million out the budget. At the end of the day, in that budget is landscaping. But it's there in the fine print. It ain't in the big print. And you got to ask them questions, well, what's in here? And when you ask them, you got to have the support of the whole board to ask them questions. MLK and the band members here, you know, they weren't going to get uniform.
That's right.
And I had to go back and fight for that because it was in the fine print. I'm sitting here on the board thinking, okay, the uniform recycle's coming up. Then when I go back and ask for it and look for it, they said, well, Jay, that was in the budget. And I had to go back and say, so we had to put the money back in there, and now every school's back on the rotation that needs to be on, and we got the uniform.
They got them?
Yeah, they got them last year. They marching them now.
I see them.
Yeah, you'll see them. If you haven't seen them, they got brand new uniform from that standpoint.
Also for your
So, go
for
ahead.
your upcoming project, we used Hands on Atlanta.
Mhm.
They partnered with us, and they really cleaned
Okay.
Black Rock, so that, you know, they've got a program in
Let me
place.
have the information, because we have a beautification committee that's working now to get the school. and
They
control
really
of
cleaned
it.
up the weeds, brought out the pine straw, they had their own equipment, and they brought the volunteers also.
And they did the same thing in Browns Mill. Y'all been to Browns Mill 2 Saturdays ago. They was up there with like 100 some folks, and they did the same thing in Browns Mill. Yes, ma'am.
I have one question. We're voting on SPLOST.
4.
We're voting on SPLOST 4.
Mhm.
And we're gonna supposedly start construction here at MLK, you said.
The tentative date is September. We're trying to move it up to June.
So when we voted for SPLOST 3, 2, we were voting because the process was supposed to have been MLK was going to get the same academy and everything that you're talking about now, which was supposed to start in January of 2010. Now we're working into,
You're working into 2 more years.
exactly.
Basically, let me explain that to you. When the situation came over with Pat and Crawford, everything came to a halt. We had to go back, number one, and make sure and get everything back in line with Ramona taking over and the people that we put in there to take their places. So there was a time delay period because we had to get everything back on track. So everything is behind, but then with the MLK part, when Pat was here and they went through that, they had allocated $7 million. That $7 million wasn't enough to do what needed to be done here. So as your board rep, I had to go back and get, at the end when they did the survey, it was gonna take $14 million to fix all this sewage and all this stuff that wasn't done correctly. I had to go back and get with my fellow board members. And as extra money came in from the SPLOST, we was able to allocate the other $7 million to this school. And I got the 4 votes to do that. And that's how that happened. So now we got the full funding to do that. It's 2 things. Number one, when that happened, we had to get everything back in line. And number 2, we had to go back and find the money to add to the additional $7 million that we did, that was set aside in SPLOST 3. It wasn't enough to do what needed to be done. Then if you don't know, the suit that we're going through with Henry Mitchell, that you're hearing about with us spending the lawyer fees and everything else, $100 million suit, but that's King is part of that suit.
So
But the construction people screwed us here,
they did.
and so and King is part of that lawsuit that we're bringing against Henry right now. So all this smell, there's a foundation problem here. They said they were doing work here. They wasn't doing work here. So King is the main school that's involved in that lawsuit.
Because it's built on rock. The only question I had for clarification was when you say you got to go back to the people that are for it. Now, it was only 2 people at that meeting. You talking about those 2 or 3 people that was for it, or who are you talking about that was for?
I got phone call, just like you had reached out to me afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I got other
But
parents
they're
that
not
reached
here
out.
today.
And
are they from the community?
Mm-hmm. They from I'd be happy to let you know who they are.
Okay, that'll be good.
No problem.
I mean, can we show up to that meeting?
Yeah.
When are you
No
gonna have
problem,
that
man.
meeting with them?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
I just wanted to tell the taxpayers and voters here that I'm one of those people that basically is not for the SPLOST IV, and it's not that I'm not for it. I'm like challenging that we may have to delay it if the certain proper things are not done. And I'm saying a external forensic audit. And remember that just in January, March, they shut down what? They were supposed to shut down 11 schools because of these 11,000 seats, empty seats. Now they're saying that they need to do 8 schools, build these 8 schools or whatever. But we're saying, well, what effect would that have on what you just did with this redistricting or whatever? And so when I come to you, I'm saying there has to be some transparency, ethics, and accountability. We had whistleblowers approach us as early as 2007, 2008 about the very things that we're now suing for and that the people have been put in jail for. It's just that a lot of us as taxpayers and voters didn't have a clue that this stuff was going on. And it's time for us now to build a database, because when that information comes across our desk, we need to be able to put it out to you so that you know. Because if we don't hold these people accountable for this money, when we get whistleblowers coming forth, and when the people out there see those whistleblowers retaliated against, I had a woman, she only had 6 months before she was going to be able to retire. They got rid of her. And she was one of the very people who brought light to what we're doing right now. And I'm saying, y'all need to go back and give her her job back. We need to let y'all all know that this is nothing new. We had to do an audit on SPLOST II to expose that stuff that was supposed to cost $7 million ended up costing 14. Supposed to cost 20 million, end up costing 40. Where did that money go? And if we don't put a hold in where that money is seeping out of, we are voting in SPLOST VI, and that money will still not be enough. All we're saying is there has to be some accountability. And if you're going to vote in SPLOST, make sure those accountabilities are there. I can guarantee you we will be here again because we have not made the proper corrections.
Now, it's a school board have somebody, I was just gonna ask one
Let me just add that, Viola,
question.
and I'm gonna sit here and stand here and say that I totally disagree with you because you don't have all the facts, but that's your opinion. But secondly, as representing this district here, we can't change what happened in the past. There are some things that happened that shouldn't have happened. I'll stand here and agree. But at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to make sure that we have our kids in a building that's functionable. If you heard me earlier, there's $2 billion worth of needs because we had some board members that were sitting there and quite frankly didn't do what they were supposed to do. And I'm willing to accept that. But at the same time here, there are some check and balances that need to be put in. I agree with that. But I don't think we need to hold up the advancement of our kids, and we making sure but you're just saying you didn't want us to move forward.
I said if we just blindly keep voting it in without insisting upon some accountability.
But there's a way to go about doing that and implementing them accountability things as we go along with the SPLOST. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay, so with that being said, we turn around and have to make sure that we got them things in accountability in there, but then we need to make sure that we got the money to continue to do what we need to do. Now, with that being said, holding us accountable, it also having meetings just like we're having tonight. Holding us accountable is going back and make sure that if we say we're going to do this, we do it. And we do it in a timely manner. So, you know, I would hope that we will work toward making sure we have everything that we need to move forward with this, but then correct the issues that we may have as we go along from that standpoint there. You look for people to be honest. And sometimes you're going to have some people in some position that's not going to be honest. And whoever you elect on this board, you're going to have to hold them accountable to make sure they're asking the right questions, they're following up on the right thing. And I'm going to be the first one to stand here and tell you that did not happen. And we didn't have the right people there to make sure that it did happen. And as I said earlier, this is the first year out of the 5 years I've been on the board that we're asking the right questions, we're holding people accountable. And at the same time period, there's people like you out here asking along with us, asking me, and like you all. But we got to continue that same method as time goes on from there. So with that, that's the only way I see that we can be able to move forward. Then on top of that, we have to have a leader. And I think we've hired that leader to have that vision for us and hold people accountable that they're responsible for. I'm only responsible for one person, that's the superintendent, out of my one vote. The rest is up to her, and we hold her accountable to make sure that people she hire and bring in here is doing their job. And if they're not, they need to go.
Well, that's also
And that's where we are right now as a board. We're sitting there saying, she brought 4 new people in this week. I mean, 3 weeks ago. And at the end of the day, the 4 people, we went along with it. But at the end of the day, we're going to hold her accountable for the job because she's new coming in here and make sure that she does the things that needs to be, do the things she need to be done. And that's how that's the format we got to follow.
So, I'd like to make
and go right.
Right. And I think that the idea of accountability is important, and I appreciate Viola for bringing that up. But we do have 2 measures that are already in place on the accountability front, and there's a third one that's being implemented, and most people may not know this because it was just decided on last week. But already there is a law that I think it's Georgia Code 48.8.1, I think is what it is. But it requires for sales tax, for SPLOST, for there to be an annual audit to make sure that the dollars that are being spent are matched with the projects. And when there is a difference between those projects and those dollars, there's a reconciliation process. In addition to that, the Board of Education requires the schools to submit financial reports both for operating dollars and for capital dollars. So there is one paper trail, there are actually 2 paper.
Sir, I can show you where those documents will show that there was no problem. I can show you not only that with what you're talking about, but also with the SPLOST II. So I'm with you.
Right.
But I know that a lot of these people here don't know the truth about how these numbers fall.
Right. But
so I agree with you.
Right.
What you're talking about do happen, but that is not an external forensic audit.
But there's a third one that's and it's not a forensic audit, but there's an oversight process that has been put in place to help communicate what is happening with SPLOST, both from the dollar standpoint and the progress of the building that's being done. Because the superintendent has just announced an oversight committee last week that will include 12 people. So there will be an opportunity to see what's going on even before those financial reports, which are audited,
are you going
are submitted.
to exclude people that do business with the county from your oversight committee?
Well, I won't be making the decision.
I'm asking
No,
us.
what, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we're in the process of putting that, and I don't wanna pre-answer that because we're in the process of putting
But you
everything.
understand why
but
I said
understand
that?
what you're saying.
Because one of the people who's under indictment was was the chairman of the last oversight committee.
Okay.
When you think that's a problem?
That was a conflict of interest from that standpoint there. So I agree with that from that standpoint there. But also, far as the audit is concerned, we get audited every year from the state, and
that's required by law.
That's required by law. But right now, one in DeKalb County right now for the audit we're getting from the state, they're praising us. They're praising us. We don't have the issues that once they went through the audit saying that the money's there and it's being spent where it needs to be spent. Now, again, that's when I said there's some procedural problems. I ain't gonna say that. Now, they say there was some procedural problem because, quite frankly, we were running like the person in charge was running like a private, and it should have been a public. So there was a procedural problem from there. But when it comes to the dollars, the actual dollars was still there from there. So that's what's being said. We've been here for almost 2 hours now. It's been a good meeting, and I don't know if you want to say anything else.
All I want to say is thank everybody for coming out. We need to gather together, I guess.
We need to have another meeting.
We need to talk about what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we need to have a little.
We need to talk about it. No, we need to quickly talk about it. Look at these folks gone. Okay, well, I know we need to. Yeah, I mean, it can just be brief.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
No problem.
Do we have permission to be in there for a few minutes?
Yeah. I know about that. They're here at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Viola.
I want to see you more. You can't be hiding. We're gonna.
You're well informed.
I want you to come up and meet me.
Need her.
The principal
nurse.
Okay.
May have to give some up or something for a headache, huh?
Okay. So I'm up here all the time.
Yeah,